to make all my dreams. This is the melody, it's the chorus. So we really, this is the message in these words is huge. Ready and go. To make all my dreams come true. To let all the light shine through. So I can be everything I know that I can be. To find all the strength inside. Baby, just watch me fly. Now I have all I need to find the best in me. Well, isn't it time I open my mind and just believe? Oh, 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 I love those O's. Just believe. Lord, I feel my heart beat like a drum. I'll never rest till the victory's won, and it's all right, it's all right, it's all right. Line 'em up and I'll take 'em down. Good. I feel the rush at the speed of sound. I'll find a way to make all my dreams come true, to let all the light shine through, so I can be everything I know that I know that I can be, to find all the strength inside. Just watch me fly. Now I have all I need to find the best in me. Well, isn't it time I open my mind and just believe? That's the higher note. And when it all comes down to this very moment, this very moment, this very moment, this very moment. When I leave the ground, you can watch me spread my wings and fly away. Say those words again, 3 times. When I leave the ground, ready, and when I leave the ground, you can watch me spread my wings and fly away. Got them fly away, but for some reason it's a little muddled on when I leave the ground, you can watch me spread. Everyone just say that much. Ready, and when I leave the ground, you can watch me spread my wings. Again, 1, 2. When I leave the ground, you can watch me spread my wings and fly. Again, one more time. 1, 2. When I leave the ground, you can watch me spread my wings and fly away. Fly away, you got that part. Now, to make all my dreams, again, very important, just like the last time. Oh, this is trio, very important. It's the chorus. To everyone, to make all my dreams come true, to let all the light shine through, so I can be everything I know that I can be. To find all the strength inside, baby, just watch me fly. Now I have all I need to find the best in me. Find the best in me. Well, isn't it time I open my mind and just believe? You got the rest. You got the rest. Okay. Body break?
Yep.
Oh wait.
Actually, just that I keep missing that on measure 68. The just believe enters.
Just 1 sec, Danny. What now?
Just way too long on that. Just believe 68.
What page?
It's just where we cut off, and I actually wanted to page there.
Page 14.
13, 14.
Oh yeah. 68. I open my mind. What?
I can just fall asleep in there, and the song's like, oh no, I have to go into these just believes. And we're,
Yes. But I love those just believes.
Yeah, I know.
And what's fun is that it's just repeat.
but the first one is the one that just
Slipping.
Yes, you're right. The first one is the most tricky. It goes in just tenors alone. Well, isn't it time? 1, 2, sing. Well, isn't it time? I open my mind and just believe. Yep. You know what? I just had a hard time too on the word just.
Yeah.
Just. I have the top part, but as soon as my eyes go down to the bottom of the page, that just happens real quickly. Okay? One more time, tenors alone. Ready, and?
Hey, sis.
Time. I open my mind and just believe. And the just is the same note.
Nativity.
Nativity Lutheran up on Broster House, 27th Foster House. Tom Moore has major solos, so please come. 90-minute concert.
And that's why Tom
3 o'clock,
hasn't
free.
been at rehearsal
With
because
contributions.
he was
It's
so
today.
scared. He has like a few solos in his concert. He was scared about getting sick. But he'll be back after this concert.
Tom Moore.
Randy?
Yes. Yeah. And I think motivational songs is available. And it's available in words well from
Not that I have any against Christian, I just have decided.
Charles response, time, Spirit of Life, Time for All Ages, Children's Comprehensions, Exit Song, Announcements, Offering, Offertory, Joys and Sorrows, Meditation, and Inquiry. So we're basically
I was thinking of Dick and having this guy, Dave knows him now, and he has a husband too, and I'm like, oh, we should get fired like your husband's over.
Yeah.
Both my church has, you know,
It's an auction item.
the husbands, the gay married choir director dinner, $100 a seat.
There you go. That's a new choir director.
Yeah, he's married, and I haven't met him yet. But he's supposed to be amazing. David's telling me about his background. He comes from this amazing choral background. I'm like, what's he doing? You know, Lutheran church. Yeah. I don't know what it's like. I can't remember. I'm excited to meet him. Now that I'm here, you know, I used to really make the effort. I love those people. This is my thing.
You guys will go back and forth.
Monica and I would go back every day, every Sunday. Church there, kids stuff, church here, kids stuff. Yeah.
Well, that's part of it. Talking about
Yeah. Yeah, well, I still do. Yeah, I still do lots of social stuff. We do dinners and they're so active in the community, the whole woodlot, the food forest and the food bank. Yeah, I love the people there and there. Yeah. I only have so much time. Then, you know, you need time for coffee.
Well, yeah. I don't want to be tied to that. It's just the other three that are fine. She wasn't. Oh my So we're all what you're saying is you know that the changes and it's like that you're not having any I didn't do a lot of things on purpose. I stayed so I don't care what
Good morning.
But, you know, we've had so this week, I'm in a few new stuff. Except for nature. Well, nature. Look at this. So I guess
Our opening words today come from banned book author Shel Silverstein. In honor of, isn't it Banned Books Week? Just want to give a plug to read banned books. This is called Sick. I cannot go to school today, said little Peggy Ann McKay. I have the measles and the mumps, a gash, a rash, and purple bumps. My mouth is wet, my throat is dry. I'm going blind in my right eye. My tonsils are as big as rocks. I've counting 16 chicken pox. And there's one more, that's 17. And don't you think my face looks green? My leg is cut, my eyes are blue. I might have instamatic flu. I cough and sneeze, I casp, I choke. I'm sure that my left leg is broke. My hip hurts when I move my chin. My belly button's caving in. My back is wrenched, my ankle sprained. My appendix pains each time it rains. My nose is cold, my toes are numb. I have a sliver in my thumb. My neck is stiff, my voice is weak. I hardly whisper when I speak. My tongue is filling up my mouth. I think my hair is falling out. My elbow's bent. My spine ain't straight. My temperature is 108. My brain is shrunk. I cannot hear. There is a hole inside my ear. I have a hangnail and my heart is, what? What's that you say? You say today is Saturday? Oh, goodbye. I'm going out to play.
Good morning. My name is Noreen Halberstadt, and I will be your worship leader today. My pronouns are she, her. Welcome you questioners, seekers of truth with a capital T, pilgrims longing for sanctuary, travelers needing harbor from the storm. Welcome those who are holding on by a thread, determined breakers of the chains of loneliness and isolation. You pushed through your fear because something told you that you deserve to belong. Welcome home. Welcome those who braid ropes again and again. You've been there for our siblings who were just hanging on. You gave them a hand into community and told them they could rest here. Welcome you who you seek spiritual and religious community for your children and grandchildren. You entrust your young people here, and we, as a community, commit to nurture and respect them. Welcome children and youth. You give us the gift of your wisdom, your joy, your curiosity, and your trust that we will hold all of it safe. Welcome, welcome home. How do we make this tender place wider? How do we stretch into a bolder welcome, a radical generosity of the heart? Can we imagine ourselves the stewards and ushers, not only into this space, but into our circle of belonging? Can we commit and recommit to being accountable to one another as an anti-racist, anti-oppressive community that centers marginalized voices, that listens to those voices, especially when what they are saying is hard to hear? Can we be willing to change? When we break our agreements with one another, can we offer amends? Can we be humble and generous? There is grace enough here. There is, in this place, the possibility of healing, of repair, and making things right within ourselves, between us, and the wider world. There is, in this place, possibility. Welcome home. We want you to be comfortable in this space, so we offer rugs in the front and the back of the sanctuary for alternative seating. Today, we would like to honor our educators for World Teachers' Day, which was October 5th. How many of you are or were teachers? Raise your hands. Thank you. We appreciate you. In a little bit, you'll get a peek into the Teacher's Lounge, where conversation flows and everyone has an opinion. We value and appreciate you all for the invaluable work you do. Teachers are the best.
Good morning. If you could rise in body or spirit, we're going to sing our opening song, which is really fun. I'd like to teach the world to sing. Furnished with I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to build the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honeybees and snow white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company. You may take a seat. I don't know how that song ends.
And now we will have the chalice lighting with Teré and Dirk.
Good morning.
Good morning.
From the Rafi Foundation for Child Honoring, a covenant for honoring children. We find these joys to be self-evident, that all children are created whole, endowed with innate intelligence, with dignity and wonder, worthy of respect. The embodiment of life, liberty, happiness, children are original blessings, here to learn their own song. Every child is entitled to love, to dream, and belong to a loving village, and to pursue a life of purpose. We affirm our duty to nurture the young, to honor their caring ideals as the heart of being human, to recognize the early years as the foundation of life, and to cherish the contribution of young children to human evolution.
Green. There it is. Okay, good morning. I'm Amy Brock, and I'm the Director of Religious Exploration for Children and Youth. And this month, we have been exploring heritage as a part of our Soul Matters theme. And today, that takes us to an exploration in teaching. So while our young people, or young at heart, are finding their way to the rug this morning for the Time for All Ages, I invite you to think about a teacher who influenced your life in some kind of way throughout your heritage and your roots. Maybe they said something cool, maybe you learned something cool, maybe they just were cool, but take a moment and just bring that person or those people to your mind as our friends come and meet us. My friends that are here, did you think of anything cool that a teacher said or did while you were with them? Anything fun that like you learned in school? Something that like you really remember? What did you learn? What did you learn? You learned about math? What was your favorite thing to learn about math? Games? I like playing math games too. Did anybody else learn anything that they thought was really interesting from a teacher? Did anybody have a teacher that they really liked who was just like really nice to them? Yeah, what made him so cool? Cool. So not giving homework and maybe sharing from their own personal experiences, so bringing their full self into the space, not just being like a grown-up who knows all the things, but being an actual human person that shares about their life. Okay. Anybody else have a teacher that up here that did something really cool or taught them something really cool? Why is she cool? What does she do? Kind. Teachers that are kind. What does it mean to be kind? How did you know she was kind? Ooh, stickers. Stickers are what make teachers kind. Got it. All right, one more thing. Anybody else have one more thing that they thought about when I said, think about a teacher that did something cool or said something cool?
My RE teachers, because they let me be myself in my classes.
Thanks, Stevie. Well, that's a good segue into our next piece of the Time for All Ages. I was going to share that when I was thinking about talking to you about all of this, I was writing in my notes, think about a teacher that impacted you is what I wrote. But then I remembered that my 10th and 12th grade high school teacher always told us that we should not use the word impact because that's kind of like a car running into the side of the building and it kind of destroys everything. And that's not usually what we're trying to do when we're trying to get people to understand us. So I changed it to influence, thanks to my 10th and 12th grade teacher, the same person. So yeah, teachers are important. They teach us things. We remember things. And like Stevie said, we are needing some more RE teachers to join us this year. But do you guys know what? Sometimes when I talk to grown-ups about coming to play with us in RE, they say some things to me. Do you want to know what they say? Sometimes the things that they say sound something like, I would love to come and play in RE, but I don't know how to be a teacher. Nobody's ever taught me how to do that, and I don't know how to do all the things, and there's so much that I don't know, and that just sounds really, really hard. So, because we need some more grown-ups to come and play with us, I thought maybe you could help our grown-ups out here not be so scared to come and play with us by helping them learn some things that they would need to know if they're going to come and teach in RE. And Stevie's going to help write some of those things on our whiteboard for us. So, what do you guys think that we should know if they're going to come and play with us in RE? What do they need to know? I know you guys have some good ideas. We're thinking really hard. Let's see if we can come up with 3 ideas. Did you have an idea? Oh, you have. You're going to help us. Okay, great. Yeah. So singing. Maybe they could teach us how to sing. That would be cool. All right. Listening. We're thinking really hard. This is really serious. Listening, singing. Oh, tell stories. That's a good idea. Yeah. Judy has. Oh, we have some ideas from people. Great.
Yeah, don't be afraid to make a mistake.
Oh, yeah. Making mistakes is okay. We can learn from them. That's perfect. Yeah. Be kind, maybe stickers. Maybe we should add stickers to the kind one. Okay, one more right here. Art, to do art, yeah. Well, our friends this morning, and I'm sure there's some more ideas out there, so maybe I'll just kind of leave this in the back, and if you have other things that you want to add to it, you can. But we said singing, listening, stories, knowing that it's okay to make mistakes, being kind, and giving out stickers, and doing art. So if you are someone and you're like, yeah, I think I could do one of those things or some of those things, there is a sign-up sheet on the kiosk that will let me know that you're interested, or you can come find me and talk to me more about that. We're needing a couple more regular people to join us each month. And with that, we will close our time for all ages today by saying the Children's Covenant. But before we do that, I just want to remind you that we have classes for pre-K through 6th grade. Our youth in middle school and high school will meet after the service in the youth room, and then the nursery classroom is open for parents to explore with their little ones. So let's say the Children's Covenant this morning. In this place, I am kind. In this place, I am loving. In this place, I am a friend to the earth and all animals and people. In this place, I am loved.
Oh, whoa. Sorry, we have a different leaving song. Oh. Well, we know it. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and thus far away, for the time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Beautiful.
Hi, everybody. I'm Leora Mock, and I'm the fellowship administrator here, and my pronouns are she and her. Special welcome to you if it's your first time here in the sanctuary or joining us on Zoom. Hi, Zoomers. If you'd like to get in touch and you're on Zoom, there will be a form that pops up in the chat, and if you're here in person, there's lots of people really excited to connect with you at the connections table during the coffee hour. So today is the final day of the auction. And I have to tell you that if you've not been to the website and not looked at the auction items, you're going to be stuck with something that teenagers and other young people call FOMO. And that is the fear of missing out. And I'm not saying you need to go buy the most expensive thing on the auction, but there are some experiences and some goodies there that are worth your while. And especially with some of those concerts, I didn't buy any last year, and as they rolled through, I regretted it pretty much every time. So that's my story. If you are keen on making sure that you're not riddled with FOMO, you can go to our website, and there's a giant button. It says Auction 2023. And just click it, and it'll take you to the Octria place where you can register and bid. In other news, Homeless Outreach Team is sponsoring a dog and cat food drive. You can leave treats and foods for furry friends in the bin in the entryway or at their table in the gathering hall. And membership classes are forming. If you're new and you're still going, well, I like this place, but what is this place? And you just want to learn a little bit more, think about signing up for membership classes. There's no pressure to join, but it really is our vehicle to help you answer that question. And last, but definitely not least, Trunk or Treat is coming. And it is super fun. I think it's maybe one of the more fun things that I did all fall last year, which maybe tells you something about my social life. But it's super easy. Think of a simple little theme. Maybe bring a costume, bring a couple of goodies. I think we'll usually have about 40 kids, and then just stand out there in the freezing cold and watch them get so excited to see you, and just build that bond with our young ones. That's me.
The purpose of this church is to encourage all who gather there to grow more generous in spirit and in action. This is the great end of all the world's faith traditions, to bring the human being closer to the divine by acts of creation and compassion. We now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support this self-supporting church and its many ministries. The gifts of the congregation will be most gratefully received.
Yesterday, a child came out to wander.
And sing along.
Caught a dragonfly inside a jar. Fearful when the sky was full of thunder, and tearful at the falling of a star. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in a circle again. Then the child moved 10 times round the seasons, skated over 10 clear frozen streams. Words like, when you're older, must appease him, and promises of someday make his dreams. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle again. 16 springs and 16 summers gone now. Cartwheels turn to car wheels through the town, and they tell him, take your time, it won't be long now, till you drag your feet too slow, the circles down. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle again. So the years spin by, and now the boy is 20. Though his dreams have lost some grandeur coming true, there'll be new dreams, maybe better dreams, and plenty before the last revolving year is through. And the seasons, circle
Good morning. My name is Wendy Howard, and I'm a member of our pastoral care team. For those of you who might be unfamiliar with the team, there's information out on our kiosk. We have a little bookmark, or come and ask me or someone else that might be wearing a little badge saying they're a member. One way of connecting in loving community is sharing in times of joy and in times of sorrow. Forms for writing are on our kiosk. People are getting really familiar with that. And there are also virtual forms for those of you on Zoom. So feel free to submit a joy or sorrow either in advance or we can post that later on. And I have several here today. From Mary Rogers, this week marks 1 year since Christian was freed from this earth. Today, our son Mark and I will release his ashes over the forest as he wished. His final gift to the forest he loved. From Maggie Miller, I have a joy that we are having an auction and a gratitude to the auction committee and all the time and energy that they committed. Please remember to go to the auction website. And please play Jeopardy so I can play. Or please. Mari Brennan, this variation of a flower bouquet is in honor of my beautiful mother's birthday today. She left us much too early, but is in our hearts every day. Pat Smith writes, grateful for this beautiful space and stewardship of this land by our Indigenous sisters and brothers. And Doug Mercer has a joy. Our family will be dispensing Mom's ashes next weekend. The gift of her will always be an infinite joy, and yes, even with sorrow for her departure. And a final written joy and sorrow is from Sue Clark. After 2 years and 2 hip replacements, twice this week I rode my bike around our neighborhood. What a joy. I forgot to mention there are candles on either side of our sanctuary. People are finding that. And if you have a joy or sorrow in your heart, you can light a candle or just hold that silently in your heart. As we go forward from here, may all our joys be celebrated, and may all our sorrows be tenderly held with kindness and compassion.
Before we move into our meditation, I'm going to do a reading from Reverend Sophia Benecourt, who is the president of the Unitarian Universalist Association. Beloveds, I invite you to sit with me in the depth of this tragedy of continued violence between Israel and Hamas. How to reconcile the cost of occupation and of war. How to nuance 2 very real histories of oppression and violence. We as a people of faith can condemn violence against civilians while at the same time engaging in the full legacies and histories of oppression that shape such devastating conflict. I pray for the people of Israel and Palestine. I pray for leaders around the globe who must respond to this latest flare of violence and to the untenable ethical considerations around that. I pray for Muslims and Jewish UUs who experience the impact of this long strife acutely. I pray that those of us less likely to know the trauma of unending brutality and harm will not turn away from the generational loss, from the devastating realities and their root causes, or from the relentless tragedy of war and occupation. Be gentle with yourselves when you need to be, but do not turn away unless you must. We are one global family living tenuously on the same human-impacted earth. Let us center ourselves in justice as we call for peace.
Now's the time for our meditation. I have some words to read, and then there'll be a very short video, and then I'll ring the bell. This is from Kahil Gibran. Then said a teacher, "Speak to us of teaching." And he said, "No man can reveal to you aught but that which already lies half asleep in the dawning of your knowledge. The teacher who walks in the shadow of the temple among his followers gives not of his wisdom, but rather of his faith and his lovingness. If he is indeed wise, he does not bid you enter the house of his wisdom, but rather leads you to the threshold of your own mind. The astronomer may speak to you of his understanding of space, but he cannot give you his understanding. The musician may sing to you of the rhythm which is in all space, but he cannot give you the ear which arrests the rhythm, nor the voice that echoes it. And he who is versed in the science of numbers can tell of the regions of weight and measure, but he cannot conduct you thither. For the vision of one man lends not its wings to another man, and even as each of you stands alone in God's knowledge, so must each one of you be alone in his knowledge of God and in his understanding of the earth."
make all my dreams come true, to let all the light shine through, so I can be everything I know that I can be. To let all the strength inside, let me just watch me fly. Now I have all I need to find the best in me. When listening time, I open my mind and just believe. Just believe. Just believe. Just believe. Just believe. Just
Just real quick before Noreen says anything, I forgot to mention our soloists on that number.
Now it's the time for our panelists to come up. Welcome to the Teacher's Lounge.
Randy's got notes in the teacher's lounge. Maybe the most frequent sound that emanates from a teacher's lounge is laughter. Yeah, definitely. But it's really exciting to be here with these folks. I'm kind of the moderator. I've got a list of questions and some quotes, and we'll just see how this goes. But I think my first question for you folks, which would include an opportunity to introduce yourselves, yeah, would be like, what's the connection? What's the nexus between like your professional life as an educator and your spiritual or personal life as a member of UU, as a Unitarian Universalist? If you could talk a little bit about like how that shows up for you after you have a moment to introduce yourselves.
Why in the world did I sit here? Okay, I've got like 2 pages of notes and, I'm going to draw a blank. But my name is Kim Gunderson, and I grew up in a Unitarian church in Wausau, Wisconsin. But I retired after 35 years as a teacher, and it was sad. It was sad retiring, but also exciting, right? I wrote down 4 of our, Kim, principles, there we go, that kind of connect, I definitely help me with my 35 years of teaching. The first one is the inherent worth and dignity of every person. And I can explain why, but maybe I should keep going? How long do you want me to talk? Yes, you can come back, yeah. I'll just list the principles that really came to mind for me. They all really have to do with it, but the second one, justice, equity, and compassion. The third principle, acceptance of one another. And the fifth principle, right of conscience and use of the democratic process. And that has been a challenge. Okay, so good.
I'm Jaz Halberstadt. I have been teaching, this is my 7th year in education. I have worked as an English language development teacher at both the secondary and now elementary level. really where those two worlds meet for me is RE. I grew up as a Unitarian Universalist attending RE classes myself, and I think I've always taken the little bits and pieces of how we embrace children in their whole selves into my practice as a teacher, as well as into how I approach things in our current RE space, knowing that, as Kim was saying, it's the inherent worth and dignity of all, and that our youngest voices are sometimes our most precious and most wizened. Wizened is a word, says the English teacher. Thank you. So that's a little bit, and we'll keep going.
I'm Randy King, and I started like in elementary ed at the very top of 5th grade, and then I taught a 4-5 blend, then I went to 3, and then I went to 2, and I was in 2 for like lots of years, loved 2nd grade, and then I ended up the last several years in kindergarten, and it was where I should have been all along. But kindergarten's magic. It's just absolute magic, and it's chaos, and it's crazy, and it's fantastic. And so I guess for me, it was just letting every kid know that they're wonderful.
My name's Teré Pelaez, and I've been in education for 30 years. Right now, I'm starting to teach kindergarten in the dual immersion program at Bear Creek. And I'm coming from teaching primary grades, but back to kindergarten after teaching 5 years of 1st grade. And it is chaos.
Especially September.
Especially September. You know, by spring you feel like a rock star. I am such an amazing teacher in the spring. I feel like I rock, but at the beginning of the year there's a lot of, it's busy. Yeah. I think my values as a Unitarian Universalist come in my classroom community. That's where they shine, in my desire to help them know what it means to be in community and be themselves in community and know that they're a part of something that affects them and that they're affected by, not impacted, but by affected.
Influenced, right? Yeah. Right. And my name is Dirk Matthias. I am a language specialist. I have the same job as Jaz. Jaz works in the Redmond School District, and I work in the Ben Lapine School District. I'm an English language specialist, or a language specialist. But I'm also, just like Teré, I'm 30 years in. I had my 30th career birthday last year, which was super exciting, and really tried to make the most of it. And I've also been a principal, a school director. I've been a national consultant for education reform movements, and love being an educator and love the power of public schools. And as far as like socializing agents and the long-term goal nature of the public school project have always fascinated me. And I'm not a lifetime UU, but when I came in here and saw things like the Children's Covenant, it provided me, it provided me, I think, with kind of backwards to Kim, maybe your story. I had this set of beliefs and values and morals from public education that I was trying to manifest and live coherently. And when I came across this community, it was apparent to me this is coherence. This feels to me to be very coherent, where there's always like this ask about, I think in society today, where the balance between like a work-life balance, and educators frequently don't, I know a lot of educators who don't think of it that way. I don't, and I think it's good for me to not do it that way. So when I think about like my classroom, I have very similar conversations with my classroom that I have with Teré at home, or that I have with Scott and Noreen on the worship team, or it's those same kind of, it's a way of being in the world that I think to a lot of educators, a lot of career educators, rings really true. But coherence in what you're doing in your life, I think, is a big buzzword, especially for me. Like I look for opportunities to be coherent in my way of moving through the world, and this provides me with one of those. I have today's Chalice reading talked about like children's effect on human evolution, and I have a quote here that a teacher affects eternity. They can never tell where their influence stops, and that's Henry Brooks Adams. And I'm wondering if that would cue anything for you, and I'll pass it on down. You can also pass it to Jaz.
Thank
you. Just like in our classrooms, there's a right to pass.
It's so funny, you know, I'm so used to just being an interpreter up here and not using my own words and thoughts. So, anywho, I'm just going to give you a quick, I forgot to say that my 35 years were working with children who are deaf and hard of hearing. And I got into that because of some volunteer work and some very cool teachers that told me where I could get my education if I wanted to. So that was back in 1976, which led me to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to the University of Wisconsin. And so, you know, I definitely was influenced by some wonderful teachers. And my professor, who was in the, what they call deaf education program, he would invite his parents in. His parents were profoundly deaf, but my professor was hearing. And I have, all 35 years of my career, I have thanked him for doing that, because what he was teaching us was from books, but what his parents brought in was the deaf community, deaf culture. And I went into education not trying to fix kids that were deaf, but to understand their culture, their community, and try to learn their language, which is always going to be a second language to me, right? Because I wasn't born into it. But over 95% of children that are deaf are born into hearing families. And what our science and medical field people have done, which is great but not great, is kind of told these parents, well, you know, the way to fix your kids is to go into oral education where they're learning how to speech read and put hearing aids and big contraptions on them, including cochlear implants at a very young age, and denying them the access to a culture, to a community, which then can bring them into the larger community. So I kind of started with that, and I feel so grateful to Leo, my professor, for doing that for me. And I probably have totally not answered your question, but anyhow, it's been a pretty dang cool career. Yeah, thank you.
When you said being part of their community or learning and uplifting the voice of the community that you're joining, that's the main reason I picked ELD, was I am working with students and families whose heritage language is something other than English. And that can show up in a lot of ways. A lot of times we have stripped and taken away language from individuals, including indigenous folks of our area, including our Latinx community, and have put English up on this pedestal for access into anything down the road. And I think the true gift of being a language specialist is honoring the language that is in the room, honoring the community that is in the room. And that was something very humbling about being in secondary was oftentimes I was working with students who throughout their education have been told, you must learn English, you must get this because that is the language we speak, instead of honoring the fact that their grandparents, their parents, their language is something else. And I would have situations with kiddos by 7th or 8th grade who could only speak in English and their parents could only speak in Spanish. And our education system did that. We did that as a culture. And getting in and disrupting that is extremely powerful work. And it has to come from a place of humility, of knowing that I don't have all the answers, and I don't believe that taking away a person's language is ever okay. And I think recently, my first year of teaching, they were 6th graders. They are now seniors in high school. And a couple of them have come back to me. I now teach their younger siblings in kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade. And they stopped me, and that was a hard group of kids to teach. And they stop me and they'll say, I'm sorry that we were so rude. Like, you were one of my favorite teachers looking back now. And that impact isn't always seen. And I feel very, very grateful that I am seeing some of that. And I know a lot of us will never hear those stories. But yet, each person who has ever taught has them.
Well, Dirk, it is really true that I believe teaching changes the world. But it's not just the teacher and what they do with kids, but the kids actually have changed my life. And so, I mean, it happened like all the time in my classroom. And so I would have something and I'd put it down and I wouldn't be able to find it. And I'd say, hey kids, do you know where I put this down? Could you find it? And all of a sudden I have 23 kids all searching and they go, I found it, Mr. King. It's like, oh, thank you. And then there were other things like, I would say that one of the challenges I feel, and I feel this very strongly, is that I know that during COVID we had to go to remote and distance learning. And no, it was horrible. I brought all my puppets home, and the kitchen table became my classroom, and I had my tambourine, and we sang, and I tried to bring the magic of kindergarten. What? And I'm looking at a laptop, and oh my goodness, that was so hard. My principal, who was so wonderful, called me every day and said, how did it go? And one time I go, it was good, I think. It was the first day I didn't cry. But one other thing about the iPads, this is what I feel so strong about. After we came back to in-person instruction, the kindergartners still had their iPads. And I was like, why? What are we doing with these? I don't like these. And not only do I not like them, I've never had an iPad. I don't know how they work. And it was hilarious. Sometimes the kids in the room, they'd be having a problem at their table amongst each other with their iPads. And someone said, well, go ask Mr. King. And they go, oh, no, he doesn't know anything. And I just want to close with one hilarious thing. Okay, so Wednesday, I pull up one of my emails, and it's the ACE. And I didn't know what today was going to be called, but it was called the Teacher Lounge, which I think is really cute. But I just have a quick little story about the Teacher Lounge. Mrs. Schneider teaches 1st grade right across the hall. And she had this hilarious student. This 1st grader came up and just said, Mrs. Schneider, where do you eat your lunch? And she goes, oh, well, near the office, there's this room, and all the teachers eat in there. It's the Teacher's Lounge. And they go, I didn't know Silver Rail had a bar.
So my connection with your question is maybe a little bit more a different arena of the experiences we have with young kids in schools. And talking about the impact that you can have in, how a child feels about himself or herself. I had an opportunity to work with a little one in first grade last year who, I have so many kids. I did, because I don't do this anymore. I did things like, okay, all the girls go line up, and all the girls, just to manage, right, this crowd of 22 kids. So I say, okay, all the girls go line up, and this little one looks at me and smiles. And I think, all the things I know about gender identity, all the things I've learned lately, and suddenly they pop up in my classroom. And the next time I hear someone ask them, are you a boy or a girl? And they answer, going back to learning from kids, please don't ask me that. So I'm kind of in observing mode and I'm not confused about what I need to learn and do and, work with, but I'm really observant, and there comes a chance to do a kind of school-wide lesson on identity and bias. And I get an email from a mom saying, are you going to be teaching sexuality? Because I would like her not to be in the classroom. So I answer back that I don't, because in the interest of the kid whose mom doesn't want her to be there, I feel also called to kind of teach her that, no, I don't teach, I'm not going to be teaching your child about sexuality, but we're going to be talking about identity, about who we are, who for this little one meant, that's part of who they are becoming. So just that experience of being humble with oneself. It's a really hard time to teach, when it comes to race and all these, the outside world looking on us, seeing if we're teaching about race or you're teaching about race and you're in the middle, knowing in this example that you have a little one that is trying to figure out what their identity is and what my role is in that. So we have an impact at that level in first grade, which was just the beginning of some really deep learning as a teacher of what my role is. And I said to myself, you're not going to be confused about this. You're going to learn. And I'm learning a lot about the impact that my leadership in the classroom and my facilitating in the classroom has for the learning of that little one and everyone else around her in terms of things that are not academic.
Great, thanks, Teré. Thanks, you guys. I'm gonna pass it down. Please don't feel like you need to stick to it. If you've got a story or a message to share.
I keep feeding him the microphone.
Randy's got notes. Right. So what Teré's talking about just reminds me of there's a lot there, right? It has its influence in schools, from the exterior. There are forces from the external community that influence schools, or that try to have an effect on schools, whether that comes from progressive community looking for an increase in conversations around social justice, or a more conservative community looking for, they don't want to hear the initials SEL, social emotional learning. That's kind of something that now we're trying to not say social emotional learning, even though so there's a lot of influences from the exterior on education. Everybody, unlike most most professions, you all are experts on public education. I mean, a lot of you are, because you've been through it, right? You've been through it. And so, like, we have this idea that, like, we had this experience, and that's what public education is like, and this is what the outcomes are like. It's different than, and it's also the way we regard education as a society. It's good to have the socializing power of public education, I feel, low. So, like, we don't pay very well. We don't hold our teachers in our society in very high regard. Because that would be really powerful, right? If we had public education that was really highly regarded and really well funded, that would be a really powerful agent for change. So I'm just curious what you guys think about the influences that you have, how you deal with the balance of, like, the power that you hold and the societal kind of, like, the role or the place that we are kind of held to, I think, in society. I'm curious what you think about that, and I'm going to stop talking. Sorry.
So the last 27 years of my teaching was here in Central Oregon and working under the umbrella of the ESD, the Education Service District. So we served about 16 different districts. So I was itinerant. I got a chance to drive to Fossil, to Spray, to Condon, and all points in between. So I loved doing that. Because what I did, yes, I taught reading and writing, but more importantly to me, and I think to my students, was I was trying to teach to encourage them to be their own self-advocate and to help them. I facilitated situations where they could speak up for themselves. And, money, that's what it is. Money, yeah, money. If we could have, the money that goes into football and basketball, professional players go into education, yeah. Okay, so that's my little side. And I love those sports too. I'm learning about football now. I mean, I'm 66 years old, I'm learning about it. But anywho, back to this. One of my students, I'm just gonna say real quickly, one of my students from a very small town I worked with from kindergarten all the way till he graduated from high school. And it was, once, twice a week going over to make sure that things were going well. Well, he didn't want to use sign language himself. He was embarrassed because he was the only person in his school. But thankfully his parents let us do this. We had an interpreter with him. I went to work with him all those years. His parents dabbled in sign, and sadly enough, the majority of hearing parents that are raising kids that are deaf don't learn their language, and it's heartbreaking. It's why I have taught sign language for 25 years, free classes in the community because of that. But anyway, this young man went off to college. He was a privileged kiddo that was able to go to college. He went to Portland, and to my great joy, he met a young woman who's deaf, and I went to their wedding. And they live in Central Oregon, and they now are strong advocates for accessibility for people who are deaf. So, yay.
This question really tugs at me, and it came up this week doing some planning with the entire first grade team at my school, where we looked at what was given to us as social studies curriculum, and knowing that in our space we're dual language, so they have 50% of their day in English, 50% of their day in Spanish. And we looked at the curriculum given and knew that it needed to be revamped, right? Not only for embedding literacy and language arts standards, but also for critical thinking. And I think that's the biggest thing we can give our students I think it's one of the biggest misconceptions around what we're doing in education currently. People hear buzzwords like equity and SEL, and in conservative communities, that provides a lot of fear. And I'm not trying, and you'll hear it all the time, indoctrination, right? Like, we're indoctrinating children to be something that we think they should be. And it's the exact opposite. I'm trying to encourage them to be who they are while using a critical lens to do so. And that means giving them opportunities to hear from other cultures. That means giving them opportunities to look at something from many different perspectives, to talk and discuss. I'm not planting ideas in anybody's head. I'm giving them an opportunity to form their own thoughts, and that's scary to some, because we're supposed to be reproducing the society we have. Copy, paste, copy, paste. That's not what I want as a future. I don't want the same society we've had. Our system is not broken. Our system works. The system is the problem. The system works, right? We've had public education for a long time that has produced what we want. I don't want that, right? And the only way to change that is by creating an opportunity for our youngest voices to form their own thoughts.
As a teacher, one of the hard parts is that you're constantly balancing the needs of one with the needs of all. And in kindergarten, it's a constant thing. And a good teacher becomes an expert in kids' needs. And they're all very, very individual. And yet, you're teaching a whole group, too. But there was one time that, I feel like you're changing people's lives. But I feel also that my life was changed. But there was one time when the needs of one, this is my one story, and I feel like I saved a life, literally. There's a boy named Sean, and he was always in trouble. He had an older brother who was in high school. And so Sean walked in, and the moment he walked in through my classroom door, I could tell something was up. And it's the needs of one. And he just wasn't acting very Sean-like. And so he hadn't gotten in trouble in the first 3 minutes. So anyway, I just said, "Hey, Sean, come here. What's going on?" And oh my gosh, I'll never forget this moment. He just said, "My brother's girlfriend broke up with him, and he's been drinking all night, and he has a loaded gun, and he didn't go to high school today, and I'm really worried because he said he might kill himself." And I didn't even call my principal. I didn't do anything. I picked up the phone in my classroom and I called 911. I later found out the police went over to the home, and there he was, intoxicated with a gun, a loaded gun. But I feel like I maybe had a little part in saving a kid's life. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, from saving a kid's life to advocating for their language. I mean, the work of teachers is, it's very complex, and it feels like sometimes we focus a lot on the negative things that are affecting. That's kind of what affects from the outside. My work as a teacher, I'm new in this school, and it's been the first month, and I'm an early childhood educator. I've taught early childhood most of my career, and I get to this school where there's like this pace of, everything that we're doing with little ones is like making me feel like this is just not developmentally appropriate, from getting on the bus for a practice evacuation drill, where they're asking me, "What are we doing? Are we going on a field trip?" No, we're not going on a field trip. And I, didn't quite understand, because I'm new in this school, but I have a lot of experience, so my onboarding has been kind of different too, but they didn't get any out of that. They were sitting in chairs that are higher than them. There was a bus driver explaining them that they were going to pull the lever and use the radio to call if there was an emergency, which they all found super exciting, and they got off their chairs and, what lever are we going to push? And we're going to use the radio. But that was meant to teach them how to, what to do in case of an emergency. So we didn't teach them what to do in case of an emergency because, they're little, they couldn't see, they had a hard time hearing, it wasn't developmentally appropriate. So what we're doing for little ones seems super hard. And what I do to cope with that is going back to what you said about you learning from them is you notice what they need. They don't need that, they need that to be explained in another way. They need to get that information, and there's a hole left after, there's some confusion left after that experience that the school provided for them, and my job is to clear that and make sure that they understand what it means. Like that, so many examples that are more academic, going back to the language part, like creating in a dual immersion program, creating a community when not all the kids speak the language, but we're supposed to be speaking Spanish, all the time, but not everyone will be able to participate in this creation of a community if they don't get the language. So we find the way to make it work and make sure that kids get what they need. Money, like it's very evident that we're underfunded and we need more staff and we need better pay, The 18th, the district responds to the union's proposal, the last proposal. I'm working, everyone in Ben Lapine is working so far this year under no contract, which isn't that interesting, and that's just the more recent, the next thing we'll hear is at the end of October, so it looks like we will be 2 months working. I'm getting paid with, last year's pay scale, so it's just like I'm putting that shout out there to our union, and for you all to learn a little bit more about what that struggle is, because we're not asking for a lot. It's like the cost of living, and and it seems like that just like kind of puts a little damper on the love we have for teaching and the energy we have to work on being humane beings in a school and teaching and learning and all the work that we love.
All right. Thank you very much for listening. What a teacher's lounge. Like, what a great place to be, huh? What a great place to be. Yeah. Thank you. Noreen, thanks for organizing.
You're welcome. Have coffee with them in the teacher's lounge later.
Yeah. We're going to close with a fun song. It's from Sound of Music, and it's called My Favorite Thing. So if you'd rise in body or spirit. It starts with Raindrops on Roses. Right? Yes. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. Green-colored ponies and crisp apple strudels, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favorite things. Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into springs. These are a few of my favorite things.
us in saying the covenant.
Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are not perfect, but we are perfectly fitted for this day. We are not without fault, but we can be honest to face our past as we chart a new future. We are the ones we have been waiting for. May we be bold and courageous to start that new future. May we have faith in a future that is not known. We are the ones we have been waiting for. Poems from South American Women by June Jordan. Have a great day.
Did I unmute? Uncrossed. Anybody out there? There's a microphone. No, that's a flashlight. Okay. But no one's out there. Might as well go eat breakfast. Yeah. Thanks anyway.